Stop whatever you're doing, because the next 2 hours might be the financial turning point of your entire life. If you're tired of surviving paycheck to paycheck, if you've had enough of trading your time for scraps while others multiply money in their sleep, this is for you. What you're about to hear isn't motivation, it's financial reprogramming. Because the truth is simple. You were never taught how money really works. But once you understand the system, once you master it, you'll never see money the same way again. Listen carefully. If you apply what you're about to learn, you will never be broke again. Chapter 1. Wake up. The system was built to keep you broke. Let's start with the truth. You were never taught how money actually works. Not in school. Not in college. Not even at your job. You were trained to obey the system, not to master it. You were told to work hard, save money, buy a house, and retire at 65. But no one told you that this formula was designed to keep you trapped. Trapped in debt, trapped in dependency, trapped in the illusion of freedom. And here's the hard truth. The system doesn't want you rich. It needs you predictable. It needs you employed. It needs you consuming, borrowing, and paying taxes forever. Money follows discipline, not dreams. And discipline begins with awareness. So today, we're pulling the curtain back. The education trap. Let's talk about school. You spent 12 years memorizing facts, not mastering freedom. You were taught to fit in, not to stand out. You were taught to follow directions, not to create solutions. You were taught to be an employee, not an owner. Schools teach obedience. They do not teach leverage. They do not teach cash flow. They do not teach taxes, credit, or investments. Why? Because the system needs workers, not wealth builders. Think about it. If schools truly educated you about money, who would take out student loans? Who would work 40 years in a job they hate for a paycheck that barely covers inflation? Who would believe that retirement at 65 is success? The truth, the education system produces financial slaves, wearing professional titles. You were conditioned to earn just enough to survive, and spend just enough to stay broke. This is not conspiracy. It's economics. The system thrives when you consume, not when you compound. It thrives when you stay average. But you're here to break that. You're here to reprogram your financial identity. Because the first step to wealth is to wake up to how deep the programming goes. Taxes, debt, and inflation, the silent traps. Now, let's talk about the invisible chains, taxes, debt, and inflation. Taxes are not punishment. They're a wealth filter. They separate those who understand the rules from those who don't. The poor pay the highest taxes, percentage-wise, because they don't know the game. The rich, they use structures, corporations, and laws to redirect income through tax-efficient channels. It's not evasion. It's education. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. Debt is another weapon of control. The poor use debt to buy liabilities, cars, clothes, vacations. The rich use debt to buy assets, property, businesses, cash flow. Same tool, different outcome. It's not about income. It's about behavior. And inflation, that's the silent thief of your savings. Every year, your dollar buys less. If your money sits idle, it's dying. The government prints, prices rise, and the uneducated get crushed. While the wealthy use inflation as leverage by owning assets that appreciate faster than currency devalues. You have a choice with every dollar. You can let it shrink in a savings account, or you can multiply it in an investment. You can work for money, or you can make money work for you. That's the choice every financially free person makes daily. How the rich play a different game. The rich don't just earn differently. They think differently. While the middle class chases comfort, the wealthy chase control. While the average person fears risk, the wealthy fear stagnation. They understand that money is not paper, it's energy. And energy must move. Here's the formula the system will never teach you. Money flows to those who manage it with intention. Every dollar has a purpose. Every investment has a system. Every outcome has a process. The wealthy don't rely on luck. They rely on structure. They don't hope for raises. They build revenue. They don't wish for retirement. They design freedom. This is how money actually works. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to learn the rules that govern money and apply them relentlessly. Remember this. Money rewards clarity and punishes confusion. If you're not clear on how your money grows, someone else is using it to grow theirs. That's the system. You earn. You spend. They profit. Until you wake up, the mindset shift. Stop blaming. Start building. Here's where the transformation begins. You must take responsibility for your financial life. Completely. No more blaming the economy. No more blaming the government. No more blaming your parents, your boss, or your upbringing. Because blame keeps you broke. Responsibility makes you rich. The moment you say, "It's up to me," everything changes. That's the mental shift from victim to owner, from consumer to creator, from paycheck to power. You don't need permission to build wealth. You don't need luck, talent, or timing. You need a plan, a mindset, and discipline. Money follows discipline, not dreams. Start today. Track every dollar. Cut what doesn't multiply your future. Study the language of money like your life depends on it, because it does. You have to see money as a tool for freedom, not survival. Every dollar is a seed. Plant it. Water it. Multiply it. That's how wealth begins, not with big income, but with small, consistent mastery. The broke spend emotionally. The wealthy spend strategically. The broke chase image. The wealthy chase impact. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. If you want to change your financial life, change your relationship with money. Start treating every dollar like an employee. If it's not working for you, it's wasting potential. You don't need more money. You need more discipline with money. Because money magnifies who you already are. If you're careless, more money makes you broke faster. If you're intentional, more money builds empires. This is the mindset shift the system doesn't want you to have. Because once you do, you're free. The financial awakening. The system doesn't collapse when you wake up. It loses control. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You're learning the truth. The truth that no politician, no employer, no teacher ever told you. Wealth is not about luck. It's about literacy. The wealthy aren't smarter. They're just more aware. They understand money is a game, and they play it to win. You can too. So from this moment on, you stop living like a pawn and start thinking like a player. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more hoping for change. You are the change. Your habits. Your choices. Your discipline. That's the foundation of financial freedom. You have a choice today. Stay asleep and remain a cog in the machine. Or wake up and start building your own. Because the truth is simple. No one's coming to save you. You save yourself with knowledge, execution, and consistency. You've learned the first truth. Money rewards awareness, not obedience. You've seen how the system keeps people broke and how to step outside of it. Now it's time to break the biggest wealth illusion of all. Chapter 2. Stop trading time for money. Because until you learn to separate your income from your hours, you'll always be owned by the clock. Chapter 2. Stop trading time for money. Let's get straight to it. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't own your life. You rent it. That's the harsh truth most people avoid. They think a job equals security. They think a paycheck equals success. They think a salary equals freedom. But it doesn't. A paycheck is permission. It's proof that someone else owns your time. You trade the best hours of your life for money that disappears before the next payday. And here's the problem. When you stop working, your income dies. You could work for 40 years, and the moment you stop showing up, the money stops flowing. That's not freedom. That's dependence disguised as stability. Listen carefully. The wealthy don't trade time for money. They trade ideas for assets. They build systems that pay them whether they work or not. They understand the game. They play it differently. You're not supposed to hustle forever. You're supposed to build systems that do the hustling for you. That's how money actually works. The job trap. From childhood, you were told, get a good job, work hard, earn a steady paycheck. And you believed it, because that's what everyone around you was doing. But what if that steady paycheck was the very thing keeping you broke? Jobs are designed to make you comfortable, not free. They give you just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. You get a raise, you raise your spending. You make more, you owe more. And the cycle continues. The truth is brutal but liberating. You will never achieve financial freedom by renting out your time. Because time is limited. You have 24 hours in a day, no matter how hard you work. The wealthy understand this. They multiply hours through leverage, other people's time, other people's money, other people's systems. While you're busy working for money, they're making money work for them. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. The power of leverage. Let's talk about leverage, the ultimate wealth multiplier. Leverage is how the rich grow rich faster. Leverage is why the same 24 hours produces $1 billion for one man and a paycheck for another. There are 3 kinds of leverage: people, systems, and capital. People leverage means building teams. Delegation, outsourcing, leadership. You stop doing everything yourself and start directing others toward a shared goal. System leverage means automation, technology, processes that run on autopilot. Systems work even when you don't. Capital leverage means using money to buy time. You invest dollars that generate more dollars. That's how the wealthy create passive income streams. You see, money doesn't sleep, it compounds. But it only compounds for those who understand how to put it to work. That's why broke people stay broke. They trade effort for income. The rich trade systems for income. Money follows discipline, not dreams. Discipline to save. Discipline to invest. Discipline to build something that scales beyond your time. This is how money actually works. The self-employed illusion. Now, some people escape jobs and start businesses. But even then, many stay trapped. Because they don't build businesses, they build jobs they own. They call themselves entrepreneurs, but they're still trading time for money, just on their own terms. If your business collapses when you stop working, it's not a business. It's self-employment. Freedom comes when your business runs without you. When systems, staff, and strategy replace sweat. That's the shift from operator to owner, from worker to investor, from busy to wealthy. You have to learn to detach income from activity. Your money must move without you moving, because you can't scale hours, but you can scale assets. That's the mindset of wealth, the freedom formula. Here's the formula the rich live by. Assets labor. The more assets you own, the less you need to work. The less you rely on labor, the freer you become. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket without your time attached. A liability is anything that takes money out. The problem? Most people think their liabilities are assets. They call a house an asset when it drains them every month. They call a car an asset when it depreciates daily. They confuse comfort with wealth. Wealth isn't comfort, it's control. Control over your income. Control over your time. Control over your future. Every time you trade time for money, you give up a piece of control. Every time you build an asset, you buy it back. The wealthy build cash-flowing assets. Rental properties. Dividend-paying stocks. Automated online businesses. Royalties. Licensing deals. Digital products that sell themselves. The broke? They build bills. New cars. New phones. new shoes, everything that looks rich but pays nothing. It's not about income, it's about behavior. Action steps, the shift starts today. Let's get practical. How do you stop trading time for money starting today? Step 1. Track your time like you track your money. Every hour you spend must build either skill or scale. If it builds neither, cut it. Step 2. Build a high-income skill. Learn to create value that's worth more than your time. Copywriting, marketing, coding, sales, finance. Your skill is the foundation for leverage. Step 3. Start converting earned income into owned assets. Every paycheck, take a portion and buy something that works for you. Stocks, index funds, online systems, real estate. You have a choice with every dollar. Buy liabilities or buy freedom. Step 4. Automate your money. Set up automatic transfers to investments and savings before you ever see the cash. Discipline beats motivation. Step 5. Build systems that duplicate you. Document your work. Create processes. Hire help. Use tools. Replace yourself, step by step, until your income no longer depends on you. You don't need permission to build wealth. You just need a plan and execution. The truth about time. Time is your real currency, and most people spend it recklessly. You can recover from a financial mistake. You can rebuild after a bad investment, but you can never buy back time. That's why wealthy people obsess over leverage, not because they're lazy, but because they respect time. They understand that every hour spent earning instead of building is an hour lost forever. Your time should buy freedom, not survival. Your money should buy time, not more work. That's the game. So stop selling the only thing you can never get back. Start building assets that pay you while you sleep. Start building systems that compound without your presence. Start building a life where time works for you, not against you. The transition. The moment you stop trading time for money, your entire identity changes. You stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an investor. You stop asking, "How much do I earn?" and start asking, "How much can I multiply?" That's the turning point. That's the freedom formula in action. Remember, money follows discipline, not dreams. It's not about income, it's about behavior. You have a choice with every dollar and every hour. Spend them building assets, not appearances. You don't need to escape work. You need to escape dependence. That's how financial freedom begins. You've learned that trading time for money is a trap disguised as security. You've learned that real wealth is built through assets, not effort. You've learned that leverage, not labor, is the key to freedom. So now, it's time to expose the next hidden weapon that keeps people broke. You've mastered leverage. Now it's time to learn the language. Because if you don't speak the language of money, you'll always work for someone who does. Chapter 3. Learn the language of money. Chapter 3. Learn the language of money. Money has a language, and if you don't speak it, you'll always work for someone who does. That's the truth no one tells you. Money doesn't respond to hard work. It responds to understanding, because money flows to intelligence, financial intelligence. You can work 50 years and still stay broke if you don't understand how money moves. That's why so many people grind, hustle, and struggle, yet never get ahead. Because they're fluent in effort, but illiterate in wealth. It's not about income. It's about behavior. It's not about effort. It's about awareness. This is how money actually works. The problem, financial illiteracy. Let's get real. Most people know how to earn money, but not how to grow it. They can tell you how to make a paycheck, but not how to multiply one. They can tell you their salary, but not their cash flow. They can tell you their debt, but not their net worth. They're financially active, but financially blind. Because schools never taught you the language of money. They taught you algebra, not assets. They taught you formulas, not financial freedom. They taught you to earn, not to expand. You were told to save money. But no one told you that saving alone is the slowest path to wealth. You were told to budget your spending. But no one told you how to make your money produce income. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. The broke earn and spend. The wealthy earn, invest, and multiply. Wealth begins when you stop speaking the language of consumers and start speaking the language of capital. The 4 dialects of wealth. There are 4 financial languages you must learn: leverage, equity, compounding, and cash flow. These are not buzzwords. They are the building blocks of every fortune ever made. Let's break them down. 1. Leverage, the multiplier. Leverage means using less to control more. It's the ability to multiply your outcome without multiplying your effort. The poor use effort. The rich use leverage. You can leverage time, other people's time. You can leverage money, other people's money. You can leverage systems, technology, automation, and structure. Every successful person on the planet uses leverage. Elon Musk leverages engineers. Jeff Bezos leverages systems. Investors leverage capital. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else, but the wealthy multiply those hours through leverage. You'll never build wealth trading effort for money. You'll only build it when effort creates systems that make money flow continuously. Money follows leverage, not labor. 2. Equity. Ownership is power. The second language is equity. And it's simple. If you don't own, you don't grow. Employees work for wages. Owners work for equity. Equity means you own a piece of something that produces income. A business, a property, a brand, a platform, an idea. While others chase paychecks, the wealthy chase ownership. They don't want salaries. They want shares. They don't want bonuses. They want control. That's why an employee can make 6 figures and still be stuck, while an owner makes 6 figures once, then gets paid forever. The poor focus on income today. The wealthy focus on equity tomorrow. You have a choice with every dollar. Spend it, or use it to buy ownership. Every investment you make should increase your ownership in something that outlives your labor. This is how money actually works. 3. Compounding, the 8th wonder of the world. Albert Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world. Compound interest, the ability for money to earn money, which earns more money forever. But most people never experience it. Why? Because they interrupt it. They invest, then withdraw. They save, then spend. They never let time do its magic. Here's a simple truth. Time is the greatest investor you'll ever have, if you let it work. Let's say you invest $10,000 and earn 10% annually. Year 1, you make $1,000. Year 2, you make $1,100. By year 10, that $10,000 is over $25,000. By year 20, it's nearly $67,000. By year 40, over $450,000. That's not luck. That's compounding. And the earlier you start, the less you need. Money follows discipline, not dreams. Discipline to invest consistently. Discipline to wait patiently. Discipline to let compounding turn time into wealth. Because the rich don't just earn, they let time earn for them. For cash flow, the lifeblood of wealth. Now the 4th language, cash flow. Cash flow is not about how much you make. It's about how much stays and grows. It's not income, it's inflow. It's not effort, it's movement. Cash flow is money that comes in whether you work or not. It's rental income, dividends, royalties, business profits, digital assets. It's passive streams that free your time and multiply your options. The broke think about paychecks. The wealthy think about pipelines. A paycheck feeds survival. A pipeline feeds freedom. Your goal is not to earn more, but to create consistent cash flow from assets you own. That's when you stop worrying about bills and start building empires. You don't need permission to build wealth. You need cash flow. The financial translator. Learning the language of money isn't just technical, it's psychological. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're speaking the language of poverty. Every time you delay gratification, invest, and compound, you're speaking the language of wealth. Your money beliefs are your accent. If your mindset is scarcity, your financial results will always sound poor. You must reprogram how you think about money, because thoughts drive decisions, and decisions drive destiny. Start small. Read financial statements. Study balance sheets. Understand assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. You can't manage what you can't measure, and you can't measure what you don't understand. Financial fluency isn't optional, it's survival. You either learn to control money, or money will forever control you. Action steps: becoming fluent. Here's how to start today. Step 1. Track your net worth monthly. Know exactly what you own, what you owe, and what's left. Awareness creates control. Step 2. Educate yourself in financial fundamentals. Spend 30 minutes a day studying wealth, not gossip, not entertainment, not distractions. Step 3. Create a compounding plan. Set up automatic investments. Even $100 a month compounds into freedom. Step 4. Build your first cash-flowing asset. It could be a digital product, a small rental, or a dividend portfolio. Just start. Step 5. Protect your capital. Never risk what you can't afford to lose. Focus on preservation before multiplication. Money follows mastery, and mastery follows repetition. The more you study this language, the more fluent you become, and the more money starts listening. The shift. When you understand the language of money, you stop fearing it. You stop chasing it. You start commanding it. You begin to see opportunities everywhere. You start thinking in terms of assets, leverage, and time. You stop asking, "Can I afford it?" and start asking, "Will it pay me?" That's the mental shift. That's financial fluency. That's the turning point between dependence and dominance. Money doesn't care who you are. It cares how you think. It flows to structure, discipline, and knowledge. You have a choice with every dollar. Let it vanish into consumption, or let it multiply through intelligence. It's not about income, it's about behavior. It's not about luck, it's about literacy. You don't need permission to build wealth. You just need fluency in the only language that buys freedom. You've learned to speak money. Now it's time to learn how to use it like the wealthy do. You've mastered financial fluency. Now let's build the foundation for unstoppable growth. Because next, we'll break down the most powerful structure in wealth creation. Chapter 4. The Wealth Triangle: Skills, Capital, and Leverage. This is where financial fluency turns into financial freedom. Chapter 4. The Wealth Triangle: Skills, Capital, and Leverage. Every wealthy person builds on the same foundation. It's not luck. It's not inheritance. It's not timing. It's the wealth triangle. The three pillars that turn ordinary effort into extraordinary freedom. Skills, capital, leverage. You can't skip steps. You can't fake mastery. You can't shortcut this process. Every millionaire, every investor, every business builder, consciously or unconsciously, built their wealth on this triangle. And if you learn to build yours the same way, you will never be broke again. This is how money actually works. Pillar 1, high income skills. We start at the base, skills. Because if you can't create income, you can't create capital. Your first goal is not to invest. Your first goal is to become valuable. Money follows value, and value follows skill. The poor chase jobs. The wealthy chase skills. Skills create options. Skills buy freedom. Skills allow you to command your price in the marketplace instead of begging for it. Most people spend their lives saying, "I need more money." But money is a byproduct. You don't get money. You attract it by solving problems that matter. You get paid in proportion to the size of the problem you can solve and the skill you bring to solve it. That's why flipping burgers pays $12 an hour, and building businesses pays $12,000 an hour. That's not unfair. That's economics. If you want to increase your income, increase your skill set. Learn how to sell. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to market, negotiate, persuade, and lead. Because money doesn't come to those who work the hardest. It comes to those who create the most value. You have a choice with every hour. Waste it or weaponize it. The truth is simple. You will never out-earn your skills. So stop asking for more money. Ask how you can become worth more. That's the foundation of the wealth triangle. Without skills, you're just renting your time. With skills, you start owning your value. Money follows discipline, not dreams. Develop the discipline to master one high-income skill, and the money will start following you. Pillar 2, capital. Make your money work. Now, once you've built skills that pay, you must do what most never do. Convert income into capital. Because income is temporary. Capital is freedom. Every dollar you earn gives you a choice. You can spend it and stay the same. Or you can convert it into capital and change everything. The broke mindset says, I deserve to enjoy my money. The wealthy mindset says, I deserve to multiply it. Capital is your worker army. Every dollar you keep becomes an employee. And your job is to make sure every dollar has a job. The poor earn and spend. The middle class earn, save, and hoard. The wealthy earn, invest, and grow. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. Capital is the bridge between skill and leverage. It's the proof that you have discipline. Because money doesn't grow by accident. It grows by allocation. You don't get wealthy by working harder. You get wealthy by putting your money to work for you. Every paycheck you touch, ask this question: how much of this will I keep forever? The rule is simple. You pay yourself first. Not your bills. Not your lifestyle. Yourself. Because if you can't manage $1,000, you'll never manage $100,000. If you can't invest $100, you'll never invest $10,000. Wealth doesn't start with more money. It starts with better behavior. Remember this forever. You're not poor because you don't have money. You're poor because you don't have capital. Once your money starts working, the game changes. Because now your effort compounds. Your time multiplies. Your income expands without extra hours. And that leads to the final pillar of the wealth triangle, the force that makes everything explode exponentially. Leverage. Pillar 3, leverage, scaling beyond your time. Leverage is how the rich get richer. It's how one person earns in a day what another earns in a year. Because leverage breaks the time for money trap permanently. You can only work so many hours. You can only push so hard. But leverage works while you sleep. There are 3 main types of leverage: people, systems, and capital. Let's break it down. 1. People leverage. This is when you multiply your output through others. You hire, delegate, and build teams. The broke say, I'll do it myself. The wealthy say, who can do this better than me? You can't scale if you refuse to trust, teach, or lead. Your ego kills your income. Because every task you cling to is a trap keeping you small. Leaders don't do everything. They create systems and empower people. That's how you build empires. 2. System leverage. This is automation, technology, and infrastructure. Every click, every process, every digital tool, these are multipliers. Software doesn't sleep. Automation doesn't complain. Systems don't forget. The average person spends their life working inside systems. The wealthy spend their lives building them. If you can create a process that replaces hours of effort, you just bought time. And time is the currency of freedom. The more you systemize, the more you can scale. And the more you scale, the less you depend on effort. 3. Capital leverage. This is using money to make more money. It's investing in assets, businesses, or ventures that compound beyond your personal contribution. It's using credit strategically. It's understanding debt as a tool, not a trap. Because there are two kinds of debt. Bad debt keeps you broke. Good debt makes you rich. Bad debt buys liabilities. Good debt buys cash flow. The wealthy borrow to acquire assets. The poor borrow to acquire expenses. You have a choice with every dollar and every loan. That choice defines your future. Connecting the triangle. Here's how it all connects. Skills create income. Capital multiplies income. Leverage scales income. Master 1, you survive. Master 2, you thrive. Master all three, you're free. That's the wealth triangle. Simple, ruthless, unbeatable. But most people never build it because they chase the last step first. They chase leverage before building skills. They chase investments before saving capital. They want to skip the discipline and get to the dollars. But you can't skip growth. You can't fake foundation. Money follows mastery, not shortcuts. You don't need permission to build wealth. You need a process. This is that process. Action steps. Building your triangle. Step 1. Pick one high-income skill. Commit 12 months to mastering it. Sales, marketing, design, code, content, leadership. Whatever makes you valuable in the marketplace. Step 2. Set a capital goal. Every month, save and invest a percentage of your income. Make capital creation a non-negotiable. Step 3. Learn leverage. Start small. Automate one task. Delegate one role. Invest in one scalable asset. Each step moves you from labor to leverage. Each move buys you time, freedom, and wealth. Because wealth isn't built in one giant leap. It's built through consistent, disciplined steps up this triangle. The transition. You don't need luck. You don't need genius. You need skills, capital, and leverage. That's the framework. That's the roadmap. That's the wealth triangle. Once you master it, you'll never fear losing money again, because you'll know how to rebuild it from scratch. You've learned the foundation of creation. Now it's time to protect it, because the next trap destroys more fortunes than any other. You've built your triangle. Now let's make sure you don't let it collapse. Chapter 5. The Debt Trap. How borrowed money keeps you poor. Chapter 5. Escape the debt trap. They don't want you to escape. Let's get one thing straight. Debt isn't just numbers. Debt is control. Debt is the invisible chain around modern society's neck. And most people wear that chain proudly. They call it normal. They call it convenient. They call it the way life works. But that's the trap. That's the lie. Because the truth is simple. Bad debt keeps you broke. Good debt makes you rich. Money follows discipline, not dreams. And if you don't master debt, debt will master you. The modern debt prison. Right now, most people are living in a financial prison, and they don't even realize it. Credit cards, car loans, student debt, endless payments, endless stress, endless slavery to interest rates. You've been told this is normal. You've been told this is adulting. You've been told everyone has debt, so it's fine. But let me ask you something. If normal means living paycheck to paycheck, if normal means being one missed payment away from panic, why would you want to be normal? The system was never built to set you free. It was built to keep you consuming. You earn money. You spend it. You borrow more. You work harder. And the cycle repeats. Every swipe of your card is another hour of your future you just sold. And the banks, they love it. Because your interest is their income. Your payments are their profit. This is how money actually works. Debt is not designed for your freedom. It's designed for your dependency. The two kinds of debt. Now listen carefully. Debt isn't the enemy. Ignorance is. There are two kinds of debt in this world. Bad debt and good debt. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket. Good debt puts money into your pocket. Bad debt buys liabilities, things that lose value the second you buy them. Cars, clothes, vacations, gadgets, status. Good debt buys assets, things that produce cash flow or appreciate over time. Real estate, businesses, investments, systems. That's the difference between broke and wealthy. Broke people use debt to look rich. Rich people use debt to become richer. It's not about income, it's about behavior. Every dollar you borrow is a decision. You have a choice with every dollar. You can borrow for consumption, or you can borrow for creation. One makes you a slave. The other makes you free. How the poor and rich use credit differently. Let's break it down. The poor use credit to fund lifestyle. The rich use credit to fund assets. The poor borrow money. They don't have to buy things they don't need to impress people who don't care. The rich borrow money strategically, to buy income. The poor see credit as access. The rich see it as leverage. The poor celebrate approval. The rich celebrate return. Here's a simple rule. If your debt doesn't generate cash flow, you're working for the bank. If it does, the bank is working for you. When the wealthy borrow, they borrow with purpose. When the poor borrow, they borrow with emotion. One runs numbers. The other runs feelings. That's why financial intelligence is everything. You don't need to avoid debt completely. You need to understand it. Because once you learn how debt truly works, you can flip the system. Flipping the script. Using debt to create wealth. Let's talk about leverage. Debt, when used correctly, is leverage. And leverage is how wealth multiplies. Real estate investors use leverage every day. They borrow money to buy income-producing properties. Here's the math. You buy a $200,000 property. You put $40,000 down. The bank lends you $160,000. The tenant pays rent. The rent covers the loan. The property appreciates. You control the entire asset with a fraction of the cost. You borrowed money, but you bought freedom. That's good debt. Same with business credit. Smart entrepreneurs don't use their own cash for everything. They use OPM, other people's money. They borrow at 5% and earn at 15%. That's the spread. That's the profit. That's financial intelligence in action. Debt is not evil, it's powerful, but only in the hands of someone disciplined enough to use it strategically. You must earn the right to use debt. You earn it by mastering money management first. If you can't control $1,000, you have no business controlling $100,000 in leverage. Money amplifies who you are. Debt does the same. If you're reckless, debt destroys you. If you're disciplined, debt multiplies you. Money follows discipline, not dreams. How to escape the debt trap, step by step. Here's how you start taking your power back. Step 1. Stop borrowing for liabilities. If it doesn't make you money, you don't finance it. Period. You don't borrow for vacations, gadgets, or cars that depreciate the moment they hit the road. Step 2. Build an emergency fund. Because debt loves desperation. The moment you're in panic mode, the system owns you. Cash cushions by control. Step 3. Destroy high-interest debt first. List every loan. Rank by interest rate. Attack the worst first. Every dollar you free from interest is a soldier you can send into investment. Step 4. Use credit intelligently. Keep utilization low. Pay on time. Build your score. Not to show off, but to qualify for better leverage when it counts. Step 5. Shift from consumer to creator. Ask yourself before every purchase, will this make me richer or poorer? If it doesn't move you forward, it moves you backward. That's how simple it is. The debt illusion. Understand this. The system profits when you stay ignorant. Advertising tells you debt is empowerment. Banks tell you debt is opportunity. Social media tells you debt is luxury. But debt is dependency in disguise. Every time you take on a loan for comfort, you sell your future freedom for short-term pleasure. The average person spends their life financing a lifestyle that keeps them working forever. The wealthy finance assets that eventually allow them to stop working altogether. You can't build freedom while living on borrowed time and borrowed money. You must make a decision. Will you keep paying interest to others or start earning it yourself? Because make no mistake, someone always earns interest. You just have to choose which side you're on. This is how money actually works. The wealth mindset shift. True financial freedom begins when you start using money, not being used by it. Debt can be a tool. Debt can be a trap. The difference is how you use it, and whether you control it or it controls you. When you decide to stop borrowing for comfort, you reclaim control. When you borrow for creation, you reclaim leverage. That's the difference between being a financial pawn and a financial player. And it all comes down to this truth. You don't need permission to build wealth. You need discipline to escape the debt trap. The transition. You've learned how debt enslaves the many and empowers the few. You've learned that the goal isn't to avoid debt, it's to master it. To use it for leverage, not lifestyle. To turn borrowed money into earned freedom. That's the first real step toward financial power. Because once your debt works for you instead of against you, you're ready to move from survival to ownership. And ownership is where wealth truly begins. You've escaped the trap. Now it's time to build empires. Chapter 6. The Power of Ownership. Why Equity Beats Salary. Chapter 6. The Power of Ownership. Why Equity Beats Salary. Let me make this clear from the start. You will never get rich working for someone else. You can get paid. You can get promoted. But you will never get free. Because salaries feed you. Ownership frees you. And until you own something, your time, your skills, your business, your assets, you will always be someone else's leverage. That's the truth no employer will ever tell you. They don't pay you what you're worth. They pay you just enough to keep you comfortable. Comfortable enough to stay quiet. Comfortable enough to keep showing up. But make no mistake, your boss doesn't build your dreams. Your boss rents your time to build theirs. You don't own your job. You own your labor. And that's why jobs end, but ownership lasts. That's why every wealthy person you can name has one thing in common: equity. They own something. Something that works while they sleep. Something that multiplies while they rest. Something that grows in value without needing their constant effort. That's the difference between being paid and being wealthy. The illusion of security. The biggest lie sold to the middle class is this: get a good job, work hard, retire happy. But what they don't tell you is this: your paycheck is not security. Your paycheck is dependency. Because the moment your job disappears, your income vanishes. The moment your boss changes direction, your life changes with it. You can't build freedom on someone else's system. You can't build wealth on borrowed stability. This is why you see people in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, suddenly broke after a layoff. They gave decades of loyalty and owned nothing in return. That's the trap. The trap of wages. The trap of trading your life for income instead of ownership. And the truth hurts. If your income stops when you stop working, you don't own your life. You rent it. The wealth equation, equity over earnings. Let's talk about the equation that separates the poor from the wealthy. The poor measure money in hours. The wealthy measure money in equity. A job pays you once. Ownership pays you forever. Every hour you spend at work makes your employer richer. Every product you buy makes a shareholder richer. Every subscription, every brand, every app you use, someone else owns it. Now imagine if you started owning what you participate in. Imagine if, instead of only consuming value, you created it. That's the wealth shift. The world doesn't pay people who work the hardest. It pays people who own the most. Think about it. Jeff Bezos doesn't work 100 times harder than you. He just owns the system you work inside of. Ownership scales. Effort doesn't. Money follows leverage, not labor. And ownership is the highest form of leverage on the planet, where ownership comes from. So how do you become an owner? There are 3 paths. 3 arenas where wealth is built and compounded. And you need to start building in at least one of them immediately. 1. Business ownership. 2. Brand ownership. 3. Asset ownership. Let's break them down. 1. Business ownership. You don't need to build the next Apple. You just need to own something that generates cash flow beyond your effort. It could be a small service company, an online business, or a scalable side hustle. The key is control. When you own the system, you decide the direction, the growth, the profit, and the payoff. When you work for someone else, they decide all of that for you. Business ownership doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow. It means you start creating something that can outlive your job. Because here's the truth. Every business owner uses employees to create leverage. So why can't you create leverage for yourself? You don't need permission to build wealth. You just need to stop waiting for someone to approve your potential. 2. Brand ownership. Today, attention is an asset. Your name, your message, your expertise. These can be monetized. If you build a brand, you own influence. And influence prints money. Every post, every video, every product you create is a digital asset that can work for you 24/7. That's ownership. You can't be fired from your personal brand. You can't be laid off from your reputation. And once it grows, it attracts income automatically. That's the new economy. And it belongs to those who stop hiding behind anonymity and start owning their voice. 3. Asset ownership. This is the timeless path. Real estate, stocks, equity stakes, and investments. The wealthy don't chase salaries. They chase ownership shares. They buy pieces of companies. They buy properties that pay rent. They buy assets that appreciate while inflation erodes cash. That's how wealth compounds. Every dollar they invest is a silent worker that never sleeps, never complains, and never takes a vacation. While you work for money, their money works for them. And that's why you can't outwork a system that compounds. You can only join it. The case study. How one ownership decision changes everything. Let's illustrate this with a simple case. 2 people. Same age. Same income. Person A earns $80,000 a year at a corporate job. Person B builds a small online business and owns 100% of it. 10 years later, Person A has earned $800,000 in total. After taxes and expenses, maybe $200,000 in savings. Person B. Their business earns $120,000 a year, but the business itself, because it's an asset, is worth 3x annual profit. That's $360,000 in value on top of the income. And that's just one small example. Equity multiplies. Wages expire. That's how a single piece of ownership can outpay 20 years of labor. This is why every financially free person owns something. A business, a brand, an asset. You can't build freedom renting your time. You build freedom by owning your value. Psychology of ownership. Ownership changes how you think. It changes how you act. It changes how you see the world. When you're an employee, you think short-term. You think about the next paycheck, the next raise, the next vacation. When you're an owner, you think long-term. You think about systems, returns, legacy, and leverage. Ownership forces accountability. There's no one to blame, no one to rescue you. And that's what makes it powerful. Because when you own, you take full responsibility for your outcomes. And responsibility is the first step to freedom. Money follows discipline, not dreams. Ownership requires discipline. That's why so few achieve it. But if you want real wealth, ownership isn't optional. It's essential. How to start owning now. Ownership doesn't start with a company. It starts with a decision. Decide to own your time. Decide to own your learning. Decide to own your money. Start small if you have to. Launch that online service. Invest in that index fund. Buy a small rental. Build a personal brand. Every act of ownership builds your freedom muscle. Ownership is built through daily decisions, not lucky breaks. You don't need capital to start. You need courage. You don't need permission. You need persistence. Because the second you start owning, you separate yourself from 90% of people still begging for raises. You stop asking for opportunity and start creating it. That's the mindset of a millionaire. The transition. You've learned the difference between labor and leverage. You've learned that freedom isn't earned by hours. It's earned by ownership. Because salaries sustain you. Equity liberates you. Once you own something, your business, your brand, your assets, you stop working for money. Money starts working for you. That's how freedom begins. But to sustain it, you need control over one thing most people never master: cash flow. Because ownership without control is chaos. You've built equity. Now let's make it move. Chapter 7. Master Cash Flow. Your money must move. Chapter 7. Master Cash Flow. Your money must move. If you want to know the single biggest difference between the rich and the broke, here it is. The broke let money sit. The rich make money move. Stagnant money dies. Active money multiplies. The poor save to feel safe. The wealthy circulate to grow stronger. That's the fundamental rule of financial mastery. Cash flow is the bloodstream of wealth. If it stops moving, your financial life flatlines. This is not about having money. It's about controlling money. It's about directing every dollar with purpose, precision, and power. Because money doesn't respect emotion. Money respects management. And if you don't manage your money, someone else will. Your bank, your government, your debt collector, or your boss. This is how money actually works. The law of cash flow. Let's make this simple. Income minus expenses equals cash flow. But that equation doesn't tell the whole story. Cash flow isn't just what comes in and what goes out. It's how fast, how intentionally, and how productively that money moves through your system. For most people, money flows like a leaky bucket. They earn it, they spend it, they save what's left, if anything. Their cash flow works against them. For the wealthy, cash flow works for them. They design systems that make every dollar serve a function. Nothing sits idle. Nothing goes to waste. They understand one truth. Money that sits still loses value. Inflation eats it alive. Opportunity passes it by. That's why you can't hoard money and expect wealth. You have to move money, multiply money, and master money. The broke mentality. Hoard and hope. The broke live by one rule: keep it safe. They cling to their paycheck. They hold their savings hostage. They're afraid to lose, so they never win. They tell themselves they're being responsible, but they're really being reactive. Because hoarding is fear disguised as caution, and fear destroys cash flow. You don't grow money by locking it away. You grow money by giving it a job. That's what the wealthy understand. Every dollar has a mission. Every dollar must produce. If a dollar isn't creating more dollars, it's unemployed. You have to be the CEO of your money. You have to give it direction, purpose, and accountability. That's the discipline that separates the financially free from the financially fragile. Cash flow systems. How the wealthy control their money. Let's talk systems. Because wealth isn't an accident, it's engineered. The rich don't wing it with money. They design their financial flow. They know exactly where their money goes the moment it enters their life. Here's how to build your own system. Step 1. Create money buckets. Divide every dollar into categories that align with your priorities and goals. A simple, powerful setup. 50% essentials. Housing, food, transportation, utilities. 20% wealth building, investments, business capital, retirement accounts. 20% freedom fund, cash reserves, emergency savings, opportunity capital. 10% enjoyment and giving lifestyle, experiences, generosity. Why this matters? It puts you in control. It makes your money obey rules. and it forces you to behave like a business. Because remember, money follows discipline, not dreams. Step 2. Automate the flow. Don't trust willpower. Build automation. Set your money to move automatically the day it arrives. Investments transfer automatically. Savings transfer automatically. Expenses pay automatically. Why? Because automation creates consistency, and consistency compounds wealth. You don't need to feel ready to invest. You just need a system that does it whether you're ready or not. Automation turns discipline into default. And when discipline becomes your default, wealth becomes your destiny. Step 3. Build positive cash flow. Now let's talk income versus expenses. Your goal isn't to earn more. It's to own more of what you earn. Wealth doesn't require high income. It requires positive cash flow. That means your income must exceed your lifestyle, not by luck, but by design. So if your expenses rise with your paycheck, you're not progressing. You're just dressing up your poverty. Keep lifestyle inflation in check. Upgrade assets before you upgrade cars. Grow equity before you grow ego. Remember, it's not about income, it's about behavior. Step 4. Redirect cash flow into assets. This is the real game. Every dollar that enters your life should either fund your essentials or fuel your freedom. Everything else is noise. Freedom dollars go into investments, side businesses, real estate, or intellectual property. Those assets then generate new cash flow. Cash flow that repeats the process. That's the money loop. Earn, invest, reinvest, repeat. That's how you build perpetual motion in your finances. When your assets produce enough cash flow to cover your life, you're financially free. That's not theory. That's math. And math doesn't lie. The flow mindset. Cash flow mastery isn't just mechanics, it's mindset. The poor chase consumption. The wealthy chase circulation. The poor spend to feel rich. The wealthy invest to become rich. Money is energy. It needs motion. If it doesn't flow, it decays. So stop holding money hostage. Stop saving for the sake of feeling safe. Safety doesn't make you rich. Movement does. This doesn't mean be reckless. It means be intentional. Direct your money where it multiplies, not where it disappears. You have a choice with every dollar. That choice determines your future. The cash flow test. Here's how to know if you're mastering cash flow. Ask yourself 3 questions every month. 1. Where did my money go? If you can't answer, you're not in control. 2. What did my money do? If it didn't grow, it's wasted. 3. What will my money do next? If you don't know, your wealth has no direction. Money without direction vanishes. Money with direction multiplies. That's the test. Pass it every month. Your action plan. Make your money move. Starting today, build your flow system. Track your income and outflow for 30 days. Get brutally honest. Create your money buckets and automate them. Redirect 10% of your income toward assets every month, no exceptions. Kill lifestyle inflation. Keep expenses stable as income rises. Review your cash flow monthly. Adjust, refine, improve. That's your framework for control. When you control your flow, you control your future. Because control is wealth. The truth about freedom. Listen carefully. Wealth isn't about having millions. It's about having control. Control of your time. Control of your decisions. Control of your cash flow. Once your money starts working for you, you stop being a worker. You become the master of your life. Cash flow buys freedom. And freedom is the ultimate return. So never let your money sit still. Never let it collect dust. Never let it rest. Because money that rests, rusts. The transition. You've learned how the rich think about cash flow. How they make their money move, multiply, and serve them. You've learned that wealth isn't built by saving. It's built by circulating with purpose. Now it's time to protect what you're building. Because the fastest way to lose money is to ignore risk. And the wealthy don't gamble, they guard. You've learned how to move money. Next, you'll learn how to protect it. Chapter 8. Protect the bag. Defense is wealth. Chapter 9. The Millionaire Mind. Reprogram your financial identity. You will never outperform your mindset. You will never earn beyond your identity. You will never hold more money than you believe you deserve. That's not motivational talk. That's financial reality. Money follows mindset. Always has. Always will. Because here's the truth most people ignore. Your net worth will never exceed your self-worth. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you'll keep struggling. If you see yourself as someone who always gets by, that's all you'll ever do. If you see yourself as someone who wins, builds, and multiplies, you will. You can learn every tactic in the world. You can read every finance book on the shelf. But if your internal thermostat is set to scarcity, you'll always find a way to cool down your success. This is how money actually works. It starts inside your mind, not inside your wallet. The wealth thermostat. Let's talk about your financial thermostat. The internal setting that decides how much success you can emotionally handle. Here's the brutal truth. Most people aren't broke because they lack opportunity. They're broke because they're comfortable being broke. They're used to just enough. Used to stress. Used to survival. So when more money shows up, they sabotage it. They overspend. They treat themselves. They make bad investments. Because their subconscious mind says, this isn't who I am. That's why lottery winners go broke. That's why high earners stay trapped. Their thermostat is still set to struggle. So, if you want to change your financial results, you don't start with your income. You start with your identity. You raise your internal setting. You rewire how you think, talk, and behave around money. You build the millionaire mind. The programming problem. From childhood, you were programmed. Programmed by parents who said, money doesn't grow on trees. Programmed by teachers who said, get a good job, not a good business. Programmed by society that says, buy now, pay later. You were trained to consume, not create. Trained to work for money, not make money work for you. Trained to play defense, not offense. And that programming became your default identity. You started believing money was scarce. You started believing success was luck. You started believing wealth was for other people. That belief system became your ceiling. Here's the truth. Your bank account is a mirror. It reflects what you believe you deserve, what you believe you can manage, and what you believe you can multiply. Change the beliefs, and the numbers change. The wealth mindset shift. The wealthy think differently, radically differently. They don't see money as something they earn. They see it as something they attract. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? They don't fear risk. They fear stagnation. They don't chase comfort. They chase growth. The broke live by emotion. The wealthy live by logic and discipline. The broke see spending as reward. The wealthy see investment as reward. The broke say, I can't. The wealthy say, how? That's the difference between broke and wealthy. So when I tell you to reprogram your financial identity, I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm talking about financial engineering of the mind. You build new thoughts. You reinforce new patterns. You hardwire new behaviors until wealth becomes your new normal. Step 1. Redefine who you are. Ask yourself a question. Who am I financially? Not what you earn. Not what you own. Who are you being with money? If your answer is someone who's always behind, then that's what you'll keep being. Identity always wins over intention. You must start saying, I'm a wealth builder. I'm a disciplined money manager. I'm the kind of person who multiplies what I touch. You must say it until you believe it, and believe it until you live it. You don't wait until you're rich to think like the rich. You think like the rich to become rich. That's the law of identity. Step 2. Upgrade your environment. Your environment programs your identity every day. If you're surrounded by complainers, consumers, and excuse makers, you're being programmed for poverty. You can't become wealthy listening to people who justify being broke. You can't build an empire surrounded by employees of fear. Audit your circle. Clean your feed. Limit exposure to financial negativity. Then replace it with power. Read wealth-building material daily. Listen to audiobooks that expand your perspective. Spend time with builders, investors, and problem solvers. You don't need a rich network to start. You need a growth network. Because proximity builds identity, and identity builds income. Step 3. Rewire with repetition. Repetition is how belief becomes reality. You've repeated scarcity for years. Now you must repeat abundance with discipline. Write your financial goals daily. Visualize your wealth daily. Affirm your millionaire identity daily. Not because it's mystical, but because it's mechanical. Neural pathways form through repetition. Habits form through consistency. And results form through behavior. You can't reprogram your mind by accident. You do it by design. So every day, feed your mind wealth. Because your mind is soil. Whatever you plant grows. Plant fear, reap scarcity. Plant power, reap prosperity. Step 4. Act as if immediately. Action cements identity. You don't wait until you're wealthy to act disciplined. You act disciplined now. You don't wait to have millions to manage money. You manage the hundreds with mastery. Money follows discipline, not dreams. If you can't manage 1,000, you won't manage 1,000,000. If you can't invest $100, you won't invest $10,000. Act like the person you want to become. Spend like them. Save like them. Invest like them. Every move you make should scream, I am financially free. And when your behavior matches your belief, the universe aligns to match your results. That's not magic. That's math plus mindset. Step 5. Protect the program. Once you start building the millionaire mind, you must protect it, because the world will try to pull you back. Every ad you see is designed to break your discipline. Every trend is designed to make you spend. Every excuse is designed to keep you average. You must guard your focus like your fortune depends on it, because it does. Remember, you don't need permission to build wealth. You don't need validation to think bigger. You just need consistency. That's how new identities become permanent. Your new financial identity. From this moment forward, see yourself differently. You are not a spender. You are not a survivor. You are not trying to make it. You are a builder. You are an investor. You are a wealth creator. Every dollar that passes through your hands reflects who you are. Every decision you make with money either reinforces your old identity or builds your new one. And every time you choose discipline over impulse, you prove who you're becoming. That's how the millionaire mind is formed. Transition. You've learned that wealth starts within, that your financial ceiling is just your mental ceiling made visible. You've learned how to reset your thermostat and reprogram your identity for abundance. Now, it's time to move from mindset to mastery, from belief to blueprint. You've built the foundation inside your mind. Next, we'll build the $1 million system in your real life. Chapter 10. The $1 million Formula. Turn knowledge into action. Chapter 10. The $1 million Formula. Turn knowledge into action. Information doesn't make you rich. Action does. If knowledge were enough, every person with a podcast would be a millionaire. But most aren't. Because they don't apply what they know. They consume. They plan. They get ready. But they never move. And here's the truth you must tattoo into your mind. Action compounds faster than interest. The $1 million formula is simple. But don't mistake simple for easy. Here it is. Skilled income, asset freedom. This is how money actually works. This is how real wealth is built. This is the system every millionaire, self-made or not, has followed. whether they knew it consciously or not. Step 1. Skill. Become valuable first. Money follows value, and value follows skill. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for your value in that time. So if you want more money, don't chase higher pay. Chase higher value. Learn skills that make the marketplace stop and pay attention. Skills that solve real problems. Skills that drive results, not just effort. Sales, marketing, coding, design, leadership, negotiation, communication. These are high-income skills, the skills that build empires. Money follows mastery, not degrees, not followers, not luck. Mastery. You can be average in a high-income skill and still out-earn experts in low-value ones. So ask yourself, what can I do that moves the needle? What can I get so good at that people will gladly pay me more for it? Because until you develop skill, you're replaceable. And replaceable people don't build wealth. They just rent their time. Remember this. You are your first asset. Your skills are your initial investment vehicle. And every hour you spend improving those skills pays compound interest for the rest of your life. That's how the wealthy think. They don't waste time, they invest it. Step 2. Income. Monetize relentlessly. Once you build the skill, you must monetize it. Turn your value into cash flow. The broke stay stuck in potential. The wealthy convert potential into profit. Your skill means nothing until it pays you. So you find ways to monetize. Freelance it. Sell it. Consult it. Build a service around it. Turn it into a product, a course, a brand. Money doesn't show up until you ask for it. You don't need permission to profit from your talent. And stop waiting for the perfect opportunity. The opportunity is the one you create. The rich are not lucky. They're decisive. They test. They fail fast. They adapt. While everyone else hesitates, they execute. Because this is the law of wealth. Money rewards movement, not meditation. You could have 100 ideas, but only the one you execute will change your life. You must make money flow. That's the transition point from potential to reality. Step 3. Asset. Convert income into ownership. Most people stop at income. That's why they stay broke, no matter how much they earn. They think more income means more wealth. It doesn't. Because it's not about income. It's about behavior. You have a choice with every dollar. Spend it, or convert it. The poor spend to look rich. The middle class save to feel safe. The wealthy convert income into assets that buy their freedom. That's the move. You take your earned income, and you transform it into capital. Capital that earns for you. Capital that compounds. Capital that never gets tired. Your job is to turn working money into wealth money. And wealth money lives in assets, businesses, brands, stocks, real estate, digital products, intellectual property. These are the vehicles that carry you from survival to freedom. Assets don't need sleep. Assets don't need permission. Assets don't call in sick. Every asset you acquire becomes a soldier fighting for your financial freedom. While others trade hours for dollars, your money is out there making babies. That's how the wealthy escape the hamster wheel. This is how money actually works. You make money. You keep money. You multiply money. And you do it in that order. Step 4. Freedom. When money works harder than you. Freedom is not a dream. It's a formula. When your assets generate more income than your lifestyle costs, you're free. Not when you hit a number. Not when you feel ready. When your systems work harder than you do. That's financial freedom. And it's built, not found. The broke wait for it. The wealthy design it. They understand that every dollar can either buy pleasure or purchase freedom. Every decision either builds a system or breaks it. Money follows discipline, not dreams. And freedom is the final dividend of financial discipline. Why most people never get there? Most people never make it past step 1. They collect information like it's currency. They buy books. They take courses. They watch endless videos. But they never apply. Because application requires courage. Action requires risk. And most people fear failure more than they crave freedom. But here's the secret. Failure isn't the opposite of wealth. It's the tuition for wealth. Every millionaire you admire has paid that tuition. They've failed, lost, rebuilt, refined. You just didn't see it. The world celebrates their outcome, not their grind. The difference between the broke and the wealthy isn't knowledge. It's execution. It's doing what others won't, for as long as it takes. It's showing up when no one claps. It's stacking small wins until they turn into big ones. Wealth doesn't show up overnight. It compounds quietly in the background while the world sleeps. The Millionaire's Code. Here's the truth every wealthy person lives by. You are always one disciplined year away from changing your life forever. 1 year of ruthless focus. 1 year of cutting distractions. 1 year of consistent action. That's it. But you must start today. Not next year. Not when it's convenient. Because someday is code for never. Execution is the only shortcut. You can't think your way into wealth. You must act your way into it. Because every delay costs you time. And time is the only currency you can't replenish. So commit fully, aggressively, relentlessly. No more half effort. No more excuses. No more waiting for clarity. Clarity comes from motion. Wealth comes from movement. That's the $1 million formula in action. Skill, income, asset, freedom. You repeat that cycle until your money works harder than you ever could. That's how the first million happens. Not by luck. Not by inheritance. But by consistent execution of this simple system. Your move. You've consumed the knowledge. You've studied the psychology. You've understood how money really works. Now it's time to apply. Because the gap between knowing and doing is where most dreams die. Don't let that be you. Set your target. Build your skill. Create income. Acquire assets. Buy your freedom. Then teach others how to do the same. Because true wealth isn't just what you build, it's what you multiply in others. Transition/closing truth. You've learned the laws of money. You've built a mindset. You've mastered the system. Now you know what the wealthy know. And more importantly, you know what they do. So remember this as you leave. Money respects discipline. Wealth rewards patience. Freedom follows consistency. This is how money actually works. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. And this is how you build a life where money works for you. The $1 million formula isn't a dream. It's a decision. The decision to act. Today. Now. No permission needed that you've just heard the blueprint. The exact path from $0 to $1 million. You now know why you've struggled, why the system wins, and how to flip it in your favor. But knowledge without action is poverty in disguise. Stop saying someday. Someday is how people die broke. Start building your skill. Start managing your money. Start multiplying your assets. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You need execution. The next 5 years are coming whether you act or not. The only question is, will you still be where you are today? Or will you be free? The choice is yours. Welcome to your financial awakening.